Today's training, I feel inspired that we need to talk about disagreeing appropriately. And this was one of the skills that I learned from Nicolene Peck at Teaching Self-Government. And I'm going to also post this in the member area. There's a 10-minute video that she teaches the exact steps of what this is. But I want to break it down a little bit more so that we can see the paradigms when it comes to what it feels like to be in fight or flight and we're trying to talk about a problem versus when we're in a calm mindset and we're trying to talk about a problem. So the two belief sets behind one or the other, then imagine the clouds and the sun. No, the clouds and the sun. I have to anchor the sun on my right side. So the clouds in a conflict feels like a power struggle. And it feels like there's a war and you have to win the war. This is your ego flaring up and that emotion get heightened and you feel like there's this need to power struggle over who wins the argument, right? And the communication, bad communication looks like talking back, arguing, perhaps cutting each other off. With kids, it looks like, yeah, but mom, and they're arguing and they're negotiating, or someone might get angry or someone might get sad in these heightened emotions. So this would look like, well, you don't love me, or you never let me have my way, or nobody cares about me. And these are all emotionally manipulative techniques that kids learn to use as a way to get their way. And the antidote for that power struggle is teaching them how to disagree appropriately. So when I taught this to my kids, obviously I had to learn it as an adult, and there's still many adults that don't really know how to communicate through the conflict. So I'd really want to witness that as I've used this principle, it has been able to bring greater connection through the conflict. So at first, when we're approaching this from a fight or flight place, we're like, oh my gosh, I can't talk about it. It's so scary. And once we learn to step into our power of calmness, approaching this conversation with, okay, I'm safe. I can use my voice. I can talk about what I need, even if they don't let me have my way. I'm still my own person. I can still say what I want. And so what blaming would look like if you're still in the victim, if you're in the clouds about trying to get your way, you might have a tendency to use your voice in a way that says, you did this and you did this. And one of the things that I love about this is John Gottman's 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. 4 Horsemen. Oh, stonewalling, I know is one of them. I don't have them all. This just came to mind right now. So look up John Gottman, 4 Horsemen, and he has an amazing video of what it looks like to do destructive behaviors in communication. So when you are passive, you're like, I don't care, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to talk about it, you walk away, and you don't approach the conflict, right? When you're aggressive, you go into anger, you go into try to overpower and win the argument. But when you're passive aggressive, both of those combined together means, this is my favorite one that I used to do a lot, not saying anything and slamming doors and I'm fine and leave me alone and all of those things that someone's angry, but they're not talking about it. So that's passive aggressive. So recognizing what the clouds look like when it comes to communication is super important. And not getting sucked into it, because this is truly a psychological downward spiral that people get addicted to anger. They get addicted to the power struggle. They want to argue. They want to get the thing going on. And there's psychological things happening that get us all in this power struggle mode. The goal is to shift away from that heaviness, the darkness, so that we can move into calm, clear communication. So Nicolene Peck, I have a picture I will post. She has 7 steps that she teaches this skill. And she says the first one is being aware of your calm voice, face, and body. And she said if people learn how to master calmness, 90% of the problem is already solved. So what we do here makes it even more important because we're recognizing why we're getting triggered. And we're looking at what that emotion is and recognizing, okay, why do I feel that way? And going into the beliefs underneath that emotional trigger. I didn't know how to have empathy when I was younger, and that's something that has come recently in being able to evolve in my journey. So her program, I love it, and it does teach the beginning stages of the communication, especially what to do when you're in a fight or flight state. I was able to make myself follow the steps even though I wasn't really calm in my heart. I followed the steps because I knew, okay, number one, I'm going to keep a calm voice, face, and body. But it did turn me kind of into disconnected human being. I wasn't really able to have empathy and be present and co-regulate with my kids so that I could have empathy in that moment, like having a temper tantrum in the back room. She's 4 years old. I told her to be by herself until she can calm down. And I didn't know how to, I'm so sorry you're feeling this way. Let me sit with you. Can I just hold you? Can I be with you? And that would have made the hugest difference. So going into number one, what it looks like to be calm and have that calm communication. Calm voice, face, and body is the first thing. And then she goes into the Stephen Covey principle. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. She talks about the monkey brain that takes over in the back of the head when you're in fight or flight. And she said this shift of seeking first to understand actually activates your front brain, your prefrontal cortex. So that's the curiosity. The magic of curiosity is opening up the front of your brain and it's saying, okay, how can I understand this person from their perspective? Letting go of all of the I have to win, all of the angst, all of the anxiety, the fear, the FUD, let it go and truly just have your moment to pause, right? That's the pattern interrupt. What can I do to step into understanding them? Okay, what's happening for you? And what does that look like? What are you thinking? What do you believe when I say this? What are you interpreting that I mean when I say this? And there's usually misunderstandings when people are seeing things in a war state, right? Because our brains are going to lie to us and they're going to look for evidence of what we believe that's in the clouds. If I believe that nobody listens to me, my brain is going to look for evidence that they're not listening to me. See, I'm right. So letting go of the fear and opening up the prefrontal cortex to increase the curiosity. Number one, seek first to understand. So asking those questions so that you, and this is a debate skill, you can explain what they mean better than they can. And once you can do that, then you can seek to be understood. Asking all those questions. Wait, so what you're saying is this, and this, and this. And when I do this, you see it as this, and this. Really trying to understand in your heart as best you can. This is going to be a skill that's going to develop a little by little, the more that you open up your mind to ask and understand. And then seek to be understood. Okay. And this is where your self-leadership, your inner leadership comes in. I've done the work on me. I know why I get angry. I know why I get triggered. I know the FUD that I'm thinking in the moment when I go into Momzilla mode. Whatever is going on for you in that moment, you've done the inner work. And then this is after all of that. After you've done that inner work, you're now taking all of those feelings, those expressions to this other person. Thank you so much for helping me to understand your perspective. Can I share with you what I am noticing, what I'm feeling, what's going on for me? So imagine the bubble that we talk about so often in meditation. Inside the bubble is my thoughts, my emotions, and my beliefs. These are my responsibility. I am not going to put that on anyone else, right? So I'm not going to say, you made me feel this way. That would be a victim statement. You did this to me. That would be a victim statement. So all taken it back to, okay, when this happened, experience, tree, right? We're imagining the tree. When this happened in the experience, I thought this, and then I felt this, and then so you're communicating to them however it is, whatever it is you want them to understand about your experience, so that this connection can be created, the increased connection through the conflict. So once they understand what your perspective is, usually there's a sense of assumptions and all of those other things that melt away, right? You can probably think of a moment. In fact, Kyle and I had a beautiful argument on Tuesday. And it was very interesting because he had a moment where he felt the trigger, the flare up, and it was causing him to be emotionally heightened. And at first I was not reacting to what he was saying. And then he kept going and going and going. And then he got me. And then I talked back to him and I said, this is the way it is, blah, 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 blah. And then, but what I said was not, I wasn't angry at him at all. I didn't feel like he was the enemy. I didn't feel like, it was the very new experience for me that I was able to match his heightened emotion without being at war in my heart. But he still thought that I was angry at him, even though I didn't feel angry at him. Anything you want to say about that, Kyle?
I'll be sharing it in my...
Okay, yeah. So it was really amazing that we were able to communicate and I think we're just rising to new levels of our communication. So the skill of disagreeing appropriately allows you to communicate through conflict. But the skills that we learn here are the skills of being calm. And what that looks like in the outside world is your voice, your face, and your body. So at some point, I want to have a live event and I want to actually practice what it looks like to have a calm voice and the opposite of what it looks like to not have a calm voice, so people can really recognize in the practicum of what that looks like and feels like so that they can be in control. Something interesting Nicolene said in that video, and I'll post that in the community area. She said in her government service volunteering stuff that she does, the moment a parent steps up to the pulpit and they get emotionally out of control, they're immediately dismissed as someone that does not have inner authority, immediately dismissed as, I'm not going to listen to them. So being able to have this sense of control and being calm gives you power to communicate how you think and feel and actually to make an impact in the world.